and say, my name is Anthony Barocas from YOLO Live. I am based here in Dallas, Texas, and welcome you all to today's show where we're talking about internet bonding. Thank you all for being here. If you haven't already, I'd love to know where everybody's watching from. So I always like to find out, where is everybody watching from today? Because people do move around. And also, what streaming questions do you have? They do not have to be directly related to the YOLO box. They don't have to be just about bonding. They could be about different things. Oh, I see one person has entered the contest already. And if you are interested in winning that month of bonding, if you don't have bonding, you'll get a free month. If you do already pay for bonding on the YOLO box, then this will be an additional month. Your year package or whatever it is will get an extra month to it. And so that is QR code. You can scan that with your phone, fill out the form. When you fill out the form, it comes up to a live Google sheet. I can see 2 people have entered already. So it is working. I see it. I have live statistics on my laptop. I am actually going to try to bring up another camera. Let me see if, is it this one? Is it this one? Nope, that one is not, that one did not come up. Oh, they're coming up over there. So that is, this right here is, we're looking down at our setup for today where I have the YoloBox Pro. We are plugged into Ethernet. As you can see, it's blinking. I've got data going out, and we're also sharing Wi-Fi from my phone, which is basically the way that most people are going to be doing this. You know, you're going to be plugging in at a location and using Wi-Fi from a cell phone, or you could use a modem for a second cellular, or your built-in cellular. Built-in cellular in the device, because there's a SIM card in the bottom. Right here, you can plug in a SIM card right into the bottom of every YOLO box, and it will use 4G built in, not 5G. None of the devices are 5G. And then you can add Wi-Fi to your second device, so you can be going in, you know, internal Wi-Fi and internal cellular, but the other signal is coming from another device. That other device doesn't have to be your cell phone. It could be a hotspot like this. I'll hold it a little higher for Instagram. A little hotspot like this. This is a Netgear router, and it has Ethernet, which is a really cool feature in that you can take this hotspot. If you're in a building or you're in an area that doesn't have the best, you can take this little bugger, which has a built-in battery, and you can put this high on a stand. I have a little magnet on the bottom, or a magnetic plate, and then put this high up in the air, run an Ethernet cable 100 feet, 50 meters to where you are, and then this could be getting that cellular signal and then giving it to your YOLO box via a wire coming in right here. So that is really cool. If you also know, there's a USB connector right here on there. Now you could use that for a USB modem, but again, if you're inside the building and your cellular connectivity in the box isn't so great, and your cellular connection on your phone isn't so great, adding one of these is not going to help a lot. But adding one of these, here, let me put it over here, adding one of these, and this is an Anchor. It's a little bright. Let me turn the brightness down just a little bit. There you go. This is an Anchor Ethernet to USB, and this one has nice lights on the front. It tells me when I'm connected, the data is passing, and things like that. And I mentioned it, you know, in another video. I like the fact that there's lights on the bottom, on the back of the YOLO box that tell you when you are connected and when data is passing, and data is passing. So there's a live connection here, and you can see it. The same thing with this. And I could plug this in here, and there you go. I could have my local connection, and then this could go out to my modem via Ethernet in another part of the building. Technically, it could be right next to me, but this is going to have another source, and they could come in via the USB and the Ethernet. So there are 4 ways to connect your YoloBox. You've got internal cellular, you've got internal Ethernet, internal Wi-Fi, and then USB to something else. And again, the USB could be a modem, it could go to a cable. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. JJ's Aviation TV says, hi, looking forward to this one as I stopped using bonding due to countless issues earlier in the year. Hopefully you can bring back some confidence in the feature. Bonding is, in a constant state. It was rolled out this year, and it is in a constant state of updating. They're updating the servers, they're updating the YOLO boxes and the in-stream to take advantage of the update. It's this juggling act, because bonding, I had them send me some details as to how the bonding works. And the bonding is a bi-directional communication. The way the YoloBox bonding works is you select, let's bring up the Pro here. You go into your network settings, and let me put this side by side here. And you can see that my Wi-Fi is connected to my phone. And if I go to my network, you can see I'm connected to Ethernet. And you can also see that reflected at the top of the screen, where, let me go like this, where it says I have both Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Ethernet and Wi-Fi. So I've got 2 connections. I don't have 4 because I don't have like multiple cellular connections here at the office. And what it's doing is it is taking both of those settings. Go back in the network settings and go into network bonding. My network bonding is on, and you can see that right now my total available speed, it says 0. I can run a speed test, and it's going to test across multiple connections. And it's not simple math, because the way the system works is it's going to prioritize the connection with the lowest latency. Latency means when it sends a ping, how fast does it get it back? So your cellular connection typically is going to be most of the packets to that system. It's going to send some packets to the other systems, but most of the packets I have already, it can automatically just start feeding the packets to those other destinations. So above is my maximum bandwidth, 38 down, which is wonky because I know I've got multiple. But the real key is that smaller number. Let me go like this. The smaller number, which is right here, my upload speed is 15. So when we come back out of this and we say done, it'll say 17 down there. So 15 is the single, 17 is the combined. And honestly, I'm streaming at 4. So having a combined bonded internet connection speed of 17 is 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16. So it's more than 4 times what I need to upload this show. This show is being streamed at 4 megabits, 30 frames per second, 1080p 30. And because the system is prioritizing the connection with the lowest latency, most all of that will go out the wired connection, which you see right here. This is my wired connection. So when I do a stream, this is going to be blinking a lot. My data, my cellular data, might not be used as much, which, if you're not on an unlimited plan, can really benefit you. If you're on a prepaid plan and you only have 5 gigabytes there or whatever, then the fact that it is prioritizing your wired connection over your cellular connection is a benefit, because you're not using this up if you don't have to. Then if something were to happen and this, oh no, it's gone, then it's going to jump over here and continue to connect. And as you can see right here, it does still say I am connected there, and the bonding is still active. So let me plug that back in. And there are different servers in different areas, and the YOLO Live sort of handles the routing automatically. So if you're in the US, there's a US server, there's a Europe server, there's an Asia server. And if you're in a further area, if you're in South Africa per se, your data has to travel further through more connections to get to a server to rebond it. And that brings us to another discussion in that bonding Let's go to the slide for the other graphic. Bonding, you know, because we're talking about internet bonding, you know, there are products like this, which is an Ethernet switch, which has, if I go to my close camera, it has my local area network, and then it has WAN 1, which is my wide area network, which basically means internet connection 1, internet connection 2, internet connection 3. Oh, here's WAN 1, and internet connection 4. So I could have 4 internet connections on this switch, but this is what they call a load balancing switch. Load balancing is not bonding. Load balancing means it's going to spread different tasks across different ports, which is great if you have a computer and you're taking in a YouTube stream, but then you're also sending something else out. It'll use 2 different ports for that and balance the load across multiple ports. Streaming is one outbound stream. And remember, even if you're doing multicasting from the YoloBox, it's still sending just one stream to a YoloLive server, and then at the server splitting it out to multiple destinations. So you only literally have one outbound stream, and a load balancing switch is not bonding. It's just going to send that one thing out one path, and if that path drops, it'll switch to something else, but it's going to take 30 seconds or more before it does that. Whereas bonding, that will happen within packets. It'll automatically switch to the one that has the connection. That is literally what I'm using right here. Let's go to the Pro. And you can see this is the network bonding that I'm using, and it is on. You get 10 gigabytes. Well, how much time is that? People are going to ask. How long can I stream with 10 gigabytes? It's math. You need to determine what your bit rate is and divide 10 gigabytes versus what your bit rate is. That'll give you how many seconds, then minutes, then hours. So if I'm doing 4 megabits, it's different than somebody else doing 8 megabits or 2 megabits. So there's not a set given time. This is measured in how much data is passing through the system, not in time or minutes. Time and minutes is all about how much data you're using. And if you use less data, if you're doing a 720p stream and you're doing it at 1,200 megabits, 1.2 megabits, not 1,000, 1.2 megabits, then you're gonna have a lot more time than me, who's using 4 megabits, and I'm gonna have more time than somebody else who's using 8 megabits. So that's the answer to that. Let us come back over here to let me put those back up again. I'll put both of those back up while I switch to the comments. It never gets old. It says, hey, did you have the audio switch program to start when the timer ran out? That's actually a cool feature. You might say bug, but it's a feature. In my book, it's a feature of the YoloBox Pro and probably the Mini. Although, like I said, I don't do these shows on the Mini, but when if you preset your audio, my microphone, it's right here on the table. If you preset your audio, I got my audio input set, my levels are set, everything's good, and then you start the countdown with music attached, it'll mute whatever else was on and play just the music, which is why nobody can hear me talk when I was talking to the Insta audience just before the show. You saw me talking, but you didn't hear me. And then as soon as that timer ends, and it'll turn off the countdown timer and also turn off the audio, revealing the audio that you had preset before you added the countdown timer. So it's merely muting everything and playing just the timer, and then when it's done, the timer turns off and everything else that you had on will come back. If you make an adjustment to your audio mixer while the countdown is playing, then it's on. And then you have to manually switch things back and forth. Found that out the hard way. I was like, oh, let me just check my audio level. And I went and adjusted it, and next thing you know, it was on. And it was on for the next 14 minutes. There was nothing I can do, except if I turned the countdown timer off, and then turned it back on, which means it would then reset back. I'm lucky in that I realized that the music I have actually times out at 14 minutes. I used to have a 15-minute countdown timer. I like 50 minutes, a nice round number. But I found out that the music ended kind of like right there. So I just shortened my countdown timer to end when that loop of the music ends. And at 14 minutes, it counts down, the music ends, and it cuts off. It does not fade out. It does not fade in. It is literally a hard cut off. So if it's in the middle of a song and the timer ends, it'll just cut right off. And your other audio will cut right on. But if you manage to time it out like I did, it can seem kind of cool. TCB in a flash says, can the YoloBox Pro be connected to a touchscreen monitor and controlled navigated from the touchscreen monitor? No. Several people have asked that. A couple people have tried. They have not found one that works. I have one, I think. But no, it cannot be remotely controlled. You can use a mouse. Some people have tried using a USB mouse. Many of us have asked, and let me go get it just because I love showing this. Many of us have asked Frank and the team, engineering team in China, saying, listen, I would love to take my Bluetooth numeric keypad, because these are Android tablets. They have Bluetooth. So the connectivity is already there. There's no engineering needed to do the connectivity. This can pair, this can be part of the device. All that needs to happen is somebody needs to go into the application and assign keystrokes or assigned blanks where the user, like me, can go in and say, okay, HDMI 1 is going to be input, is keystroke 1. And then HDMI 2, 2. HDMI 3, 3. Title 7. Title 8. Title 9. Pre-show. Delete. You know, and I can assign keys and I can make little labels and stick them on here. And then I could have this anywhere in the room. I could just have it down here and I could be switching the show. And the nice thing about this is I can find that button without looking at it. I can find number 2. I can find number 3. I can find those buttons. I can find the top right without looking at it because it's not a touch screen. It's a physical tactile surface. And that's why people, you know, keep asking for the Elgato Stream Deck, because it's a physical surface. It has the light up buttons too, but the downside with the Elgato Stream Deck, I think there's two downsides. One is it's cabled. Doing something with a nice Bluetooth with another wire is, I love the idea. Two, it requires Elgato to create an API that works in Android devices first. And that's before YoloLive can even get around to doing the programming to tie into the API to tie. And that's why I say this is easy, because the keystrokes are already going to be recognized through Bluetooth. Into that whole infrastructure is like that. All you got to do is pair it, it's done. All that really needs to happen now is that the YOLO team would need to go into the devices in the application itself and say, okay, we're going to allow user-definable keystrokes to call this element. And by doing that, then it would be so cool just to be like to tap a show like this and have it work. That's my thought on the subject. Kate Clement Aber says, hello. Hello to you as well. Oh, wow. Oatsi is saying hello from Botswana. Good to see you here today. The Steve Chang says, howdy, everyone. Hello to you. Peter Sindara says, is this pre-recorded for stream? Well, if you see your own comment in it, then no. 14, you are killing it. I don't know who 14 is. I'm skipping over a little stuff because David Pedersen is busting on me. Kenyon H says, hello from Trinidad and Tobago. Hey, I should come down there and visit sometime. I have some airline miles I got to use up. Zixie Digital Media says, the giveaways are just the icing on the cake. That's not why I'm here. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. But let us go back there and say, hey, if you are looking for that icing on the cake, here they are, bit.ly/YOLO Tech Talk Wednesdays, and this little UPC code over here. Nobody else has joined us on Instagram, but if you did, I would see you right here because I have the InStream loaded up, and we are streaming live to Instagram. And my handle on Instagram is IEBACOM, IEBACOM, because my personal company is IEBA Communications. I have a Logitech MX330 Bluetooth keyboard and mouse with a little USB dongle. I have just tried it in the USB port on top of the YoloBox and can confirm that both the keyboard and mouse work. Yes, they do, and that's a great way around it as well. The Ultra actually has a Bluetooth menu, so maybe the YOLO Live is listening and we could get that capability on the Ultra, and then maybe it could work its way back to the Pro. And remember, the Ultra is the next one. That's like cars. It's like cell phones. New cell phones come out every single year. New cars come out every couple years. The Pro has been out for 3 years now, 2 to 3 years, and it has gained so many new features than when it first came out. Now the Ultra is going to come out, and it's going to come out in a very basic configuration, and over the course of the next few years, it's going to be given new features. And just like some of the Pro features made it back to the original YoloBox 5 years after it came out, I think some of the features that are going to be put into the Ultra can trickle down to the Pro, because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of different technology going on here, and kudos to YOLO Live for managing all of that stuff going on. But yes, using the USB, you can jack directly. Which one I want to do? This one? Yeah. You can jack a USB keyboard directly in here. And what he's talking about is he took the little USB dongle that Logitech devices come, the unifying receiver, and he just put that in here. And that's actually a really cool feature, being able to do a keyboard and a mouse, multiple keyboards into one receiver. And you just plug it in there and it works. So that is a cool feature. But there's still the other half of this is YOLO Live going into the actual programming and allowing users to assign keystrokes. And the reason why I say users to assign keystrokes is because how I want to arrange my cameras is not how you want to arrange your cameras. Maybe you have a full keyboard with all the keys and you want to use A, S, D, and those things. I just have a numeric keypad. I don't have the letter A, so I don't want YOLO Live saying the letter A is camera 1. I want to assign the button that I want to assign to be number 1. Maybe I want to use the top row for cameras, and in which case it would be bracket, delete, and $sign. So depending upon how I want to do it is user-defined keystrokes. So that is what I see is the best way to do it. With that, my name is Anthony Brokus for YOLO Live. Thanks for watching.